Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Homewrecker podcast. My wife is laughing at me. I am the Golden Greek, Alex Arion, joined as always by my beautiful, lovely trophy wife,
Hi.
who's laughing at me,
Yes, I'm
the
laughing at
lovely
you.
Monique. Hi.
Hi.
Why are you laughing at me?
Because you're staring at my necklace like you've never seen it before. You're looking at like, what is that?
Yeah, I am.
It's my necklace.
Okay, cool.
It's a spell.
I just haven't seen you wear that in a long time.
I wear it every day. It's just usually under my shirt.
Under your shirt.
Yeah.
I can't see it if it's under your shirt now, can I?
This is true. I just felt like wearing it outside my shirt today.
Well, then that's why I was staring, wondering what the hell is that thing. It's
right.
just kind of cool. So I was admiring it.
It's my hematite skull.
So sorry for.
No, it was just funny. I'm like, you're like, what is that? And I'm like, that's never good when a guy's staring at your chest saying, what is that?
Well,
it's cause for concern.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, then. So how's everybody? Well, how's everybody?
How's everybody? How are you?
I'm all thrown off
guys?
now. My goodness. Yeah, hopefully everybody listening's all right.
I hope so too.
And doing well.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I am very well, thank you.
You're looking kind of pink.
Yeah.
Rosy red, not just your cheeks.
I don't know if you can see. It just I don't think it shows up on camera as much. I got a little sunburned.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, a little bit burned. I was outside building garden beds and working really, really hard. And the weather said it was going to be in like the mid 70s, partly cloudy. And I thought, oh, okay, like a t-shirt should be fine because I had like long pants and boots on because I was working outside. I didn't want ticks crawling up my legs. So yeah, I got a little burned on my arms and the back of my neck and my chest.
My favorite is when you told me that digging, all you could think of was
yes.
All you could think of was the show Supernatural. And we're always digging graves. And you're like, man, that's hard work. And I said, yeah, that's why they call it hard labor.
Well, yeah. Like, I mean, I've dug in the dirt before, but like we had this big mound of dirt delivered. And so I was like shoveling the dirt and like putting it on like a little tractor bed to like go bring it to the garden beds. And yeah, like dirt is kind of heavy. So I'm shoveling the dirt to put it in the tractor bed. And all I can think of is like, dirt's heavy. Wow. Like this is a lot of hard work. And not only that, I just thought of like Supernatural and how like they're always like digging the graves in the dirt. And yeah, I was just like, wow, it must be very difficult.
Hard labor, ladies and gentlemen.
That is where my mind went to, was the show Supernatural.
Hard labor.
Yes.
Hard.
That's okay, because we're going to be growing our own food.
Good stuff.
Yes, my sprouts have been sprouting. It's amazing. Within like a 10-hour period, they grow so much. I'd like to think it's because I go out all the time and I talk to them and I sing to them and I tell them how much I love them. And I think that's why they're sprouting so well.
Could very well be.
I'd like to think so. Yeah, I've mentioned on the show, I talk to my plants, I sing to them, I tell them I love them. It's
nothing wrong
just
with
how
that.
I am.
People do that.
They're living things.
There's all kinds of videos that you see where people play music and stuff, and the plants respond to it. They hook up some type of sensors and what have you. I don't know how accurate or believable any of that stuff is, but you've seen that stuff. It's been around for years.
Yeah. I mean, I think plants are living things. They grow, right? They have energy. I think everything has energy, even rocks. But plants, they grow, they are life, and they need sunlight, they need water. And yeah, of course they're gonna make food for us. I want that food to be filled with love and happiness and positivity.
There you have it.
Yeah. One thing you just this conversation made me think of was just, I've been seeing it on Twitter a lot, the whole like vegetarian argument.
What do you mean?
And we've talked about it before. There are people who are just like anti-meat. They say you're not that spiritual if you eat meat. And I think I've said it before on the show, but it just made me think that like all things are living. So plants are living. So like the coffee beans, that came from a living plant. The fruit, the vegetables that you eat, that's from a living plant. Like when you have herbs and teas and everything, it came from a living plant. It's living. It's still a living being entity. So I just think that it doesn't matter, what you eat. It's still meat or plant. It's still all a living thing. So I think people who are arguing that people shouldn't eat meat is kind of a moot point because plants are living too. And you have to kill them to eat them. So, or you can eat it raw, but you're still, I guess, taking it away from its roots.
I don't care what people eat, honestly.
I don't
eat
either.
what you want. Just don't tell me what I should and shouldn't eat.
Well, that's the thing. Don't try
really
to say
care.
we're bad.
So I'm not even gonna comment on it.
Because we eat meat. No, but it just gets me thinking. It's like, well, it's a living. Plants are alive. They're living beings. And they respond like the studies you saw, how they respond to like positivity and sound and vibration.
No, I didn't see a study. I saw videos that you see on
the
YouTube
videos you've
or
seen.
You see them on social media, and you see that our audio program here is not recording again.
Great.
It's fucking awesome.
Fabulous.
Piece of shit.
We'll pause.
The fuck? Okay.
We had a little technical difficulty with one of our computers, so
yes,
fun times.
So yeah,
but yeah, so plants are living, they're alive.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like I said, I saw they're just videos. People hook up stuff, and it's not a study, but again, it's one of those I
misused the word.
Can you believe every video that you see?
No, but I know that when I grow
I don't
plants,
know if they're real or not.
I know that when I grow plants, they tend to respond well, and I think it's because I'm always out talking to them and encouraging them and telling them how awesome they are.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm not discounting it at all. I'm just saying that just because I saw a video doesn't mean that it's true. That's all I'm saying.
That's fine. I'm just telling you how I feel.
That's cool.
And I feel plants are living beings and they grow.
Yes, they grow. That's what they do.
They're awesome.
Yes. And they require carbon dioxide. Or right?
CO2. Yeah, and they make oxygen.
And they make oxygen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Science.
It's fun.
Second grade science stuff here.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Learning so much here at the Homewrecker podcast. Good times.
Oh yeah.
So
fun times.
How are you? How have you been?
Great. I'm good. Just trying to stay cool. Every time we start recording, my voice starts to go on me for some reason.
Yeah, it's so amazing. Weird. It's like we record and like you lose your voice. You can't talk.
Yeah, I have to constantly drink water, and I'm getting all like dried. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I don't get it. This is the only time it happens. Makes no sense. It's not like I'm nervous or anything.
I was gonna say, are you nervous?
No, yeah, well, but that's just it. It's like, why is this? I'm constantly having to clear my throat. I'm stepping, hitting the mute button.
Do you think it's because we've been having the air conditioner going?
No.
Since we put it in, it makes the air a little more dry?
No, because it was happening even before then.
Oh.
It's been happening for a couple months now. It's just the weirdest thing. It's only when we sit down to record. I mean,
interesting.
I talk the rest of the day and I'm fine. I talk to you before we start recording and I'm fine. So once we start recording, all of a sudden.
What do you think? Maybe you're allergic?
I'm allergic to this microphone, I think.
You're allergic to podcasting. You developed an allergy.
Yeah, it's one of those where I'm like, oh man. I gotta talk again. Damn
it. Well, and and you're gonna be talking quite a bit because we're gonna be sharing some fun road stories.
Oh boy.
Travel stories.
I probably should have written some down, but yeah, I'll try to. Yeah, all right. I think they'll be somewhat entertaining.
Yeah.
I'm gonna laugh anyway.
I have a couple. I think they're funny stories too from traveling with bands and whatnot. And
cool.
We can talk about some of our travels, our fun travels together.
Road stories.
Yes, road stories. Yes.
A lot of fun.
What got this topic started was because you were telling a funny story.
I'm gonna tell that one again a little bit more. I'll go into a little bit more detail for us and for the, as I bang into
Just
stuff.
breaking everything.
Yeah,
For
for
hearers
us,
and
for
watchers.
the hearers and watchers, exactly.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was an entertaining tale, and it all happened. It's all true. It's yeah, a lot of fun. So yeah, no, I was telling the story because we were reading Aesop's Fables with our 7-year-old. Well, I was, and he was reading a tale about the billy goat that was on the roof. It was
Mhm.
hiding on, oh, not hiding, but it got itself situated on the roof of a barn and saw a wolf or a fox. I can't remember now.
I think it was a wolf.
I think it may have been the wolf, and it was just kind of making fun of the wolf.
It was
and
like teasing and
like
taunting
teasing the
it, like
wolf and
because
taunting
it
it.
figured it can't get up here.
Yeah, yeah. And so the wolf looked up at it and said, I hear you. I'm acknowledging you, but I also acknowledge that that's the roof talking, not you. And so that was like the 7-year-old. He says he got it, that it made sense to him, but I wanted to really illustrate the point for him. And it's not like you can say to a 7-year-old, it you can't talk shit to people, or you know what I mean?
I mean,
Like, you can't.
we could say that to our 7-year-old, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, to really illustrate the point. So I told him a story that happened it happened to me, to try to kind of relate to him. And I don't know if it really worked or not, but it was entertaining. It got everybody in the house to come over and listen, and they were all laughing about it. So I thought it was kind of funny. But yeah, I'll probably lose my voice telling that story for real. For real, my voice will probably go because
so take a sip of water
yelling
and then
involved and stuff.
yeah, so
but,
take a sip of water and then you can proceed with your story.
All right, so this tale took place. This took place many, many moons ago.
In a land far, far away.
This was in, oh goodness, it was I want to say it was 2002 or 2003. See, this I should have looked up, but we were it was myself and two of my friends, one of which is no longer with us, and his name was Steve, and he was a pro wrestler too. He was actually in WWE at the time, and we were driving to Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. We were here in New Hampshire. We were going to Connecticut for a UFC fight. And it was it was like before the UFC really got like huge, like it is. I don't even know if it's huge now, but it was kind of.
I was gonna say, I think they're pretty big.
Yeah, no, well, it's always been like big, I guess, but it was one of those where there wasn't really any names on the fight, on the card, I guess. It wasn't like a.
It wasn't like
it wasn't like a
yeah,
it wasn't like a Ken Shamrock or Tito Ortiz. It wasn't like, Conor McGregor wasn't around yet. It was one of those. It was going to be like no names, like we call them jobbers in wrestling. So we were like, oh, you want to go to the UFC? Yeah, let's go to the UFC. The UFC. All right, yeah, let's go down. It was just like kind of a spur of the moment thing. We didn't have tickets, but we called and it wasn't sold out or anything. So there were still you still get tickets there, and we also said that we'd also talked about just going to the casino. If we couldn't get into the fight, or if the fights were, sucking bad or whatever, they weren't exciting, we just leave and just go to the casino.
If the fights were sucking bad, I love that.
Well, it's UFC, so you never know because it's real.
I know, it's just
real,
funny,
right?
like,
So
what you said, that's all.
Yeah, well, but I mean, that's kind of what we were thinking. So
okay.
We are on the way. This story takes place. Well, actually, before we started recording, I was telling you part of what happened after, but so we're on the way down and it's still light out. It's probably 5:30. You're going to hit rush hour traffic, right?
What time of year was this?
This would have been, gosh, September.
Okay.
Like September,
so be getting
October.
Dark soon.
It would, yeah. So we're heading down. As my microphone here. Holy cow.
You keep touching it.
We're heading down, going south, and we're driving. I'm not driving. My friend Steve's driving, and we're driving along, and this car comes up behind us, like racing up behind us on the highway, and so he's trying to move over because he sees the car coming up like fast. He's like, holy shit, this guy's really getting on my ass. Like, I got to move over, but there's nowhere to go. Like, he couldn't move over. So the car starts honking on the horn and like flashing the high beams and everything. He's like doing one of these, like I can't go anywhere. Like, you know, fuck, dude, like relax. Can hold on. He's trying to get over
in front of you.
Yeah, it was busy. Like it was, you know, starting to hit rush hour traffic.
No,
so,
but if you're in traffic and somebody's coming up, like they obviously see the cars are there, right? One would think.
Yeah, well, you would think.
Okay.
So
just clarifying.
But there's nowhere for us to go. So he's like, I fucking can't go anywhere. Like, you know, we're thinking must be some kind of emergency or something because the really flashing the lights trying to get us to move and there's nowhere to go. So finally he gets an opening and he moves over. Now we're thinking, okay, they're just going to pass by real quick and they'll be fine. The car comes up next to us and slows down because he can't really go anywhere either and looks over at us. And it's this like punk kid, probably our age, but you could tell was like tiny. Like
punk
he wasn't
kid, like punk rock.
No, like a punk. I don't know, not a punk rocker. I don't. That's what I used to call him. I used to call them punk kids. I don't know. And he looks over at us and starts like flipping us off and yelling at us and like pointing and this, and we're just like,
so he had anger issues.
What? Yeah. And now Steve at the time was very big. He was very large, muscular, big, thick, tan.
Jacked.
He was jacked. Yeah, he's big dude. And so
maybe people might find him intimidating because of his size.
Yes. And he had like long hair and his hair was all braided.
I was gonna say, did he have the braids?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So he like if he was walking through the mall, you'd turn your head and go, who's that?
Well, he's a professional wrestler, so that's kind of
very big. Yeah, very big. And so, and he's wearing like a skin tight shirt, so he's just coming out of, you know, he's jacked. And so he's going, this kid's flipping us off and, you know, giving us the bird and everything. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
Jesus. So he gets ahead of us, and Steve had a very short fuse. Nicest guy until you crossed him or did something to upset him, and then it was boom, like that. So he's like, oh, fuck this guy. So he starts tailing the kid. I'm like, oh boy, here we go again. Because I mean, this is not.
Alex is like, we're not making it to UFC tonight.
Road rage incidents were not common with him, but we could do a podcast series entirely on old Steve stories because there was tons. So he starts following the kid, and we're driving along, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And this kid is weaving in and out of cars. Like he's nuts. Like he's being very dangerous.
He's got to get somewhere.
Steve is following, but not doing all the maneuvering and stuff. He's just keeping an eye on him and trying to follow him. He's like, I'm going to fuck this motherfucker up. Like, what's this fucking kid's problem? So the kid starts throwing shit out of his car at us. He had like a bottle of I thought it was chewing tobacco. Like, you know, you spit bottle that you spit in because I knew that's what it was because that's something we used to do. And so he's throwing all this stuff on the highway. Yeah. And some stuff hit the car. Some stuff was missing us hitting other cars. We're like, this kid's going to fucking cause an accident. Like, what's this guy doing? What's this guy's problem?
I didn't hear this part of the story. So if you're watching and my face is like, what the fuck? It's because I got like a piece of it, apparently. So, yeah.
Yeah. So we are, excuse me, we're following along, and I get on my phone and I call the state police. It's like, this kid's he's going to hurt somebody. And so I'm looking at the mile markers, and we're, you know, trying to describe to the operator on the phone, like what's going on, where we are, where our location is. And the kid starts like veering off to the side, like to the right, to get off at the exit. And he was going way too fast.
No, did the traffic let up for him to be going fast?
Yes, the traffic. Yeah, we hit a straight, and by the way, following him, we went way off of our path where we were supposed to be going. So we completely detoured from where we're headed to the UFC, and we're just following this kid because he's like, I got to teach this guy a lesson. And it went from, I got to teach this guy a lesson to, we have to follow this kid and make sure he doesn't kill somebody on the road because he's out of control. We thought he's either high or he's drunk or something.
Yeah.
So he veers off to the right, and was going way too fast to get off the exit and crashed into the those exit signs.
Yeah.
He crashed into it and the sign fell over onto the hood of his car. So we were like, oh shit. So we pull over, we, get off on the shoulder of the road. We reverse and we get out and to see if he's okay. Cause at this point we're like, oh, okay, somebody got hurt. It's him. He didn't hurt anybody else, but he hurt
better
himself.
Him than somebody else,
I guess. So, and this is going to be tough, but I'm going to try to illustrate, if I can, act it out a little bit, maybe for the people watching. So,
oh boy, we're in for a show.
Just because it was just, I can laugh at it now. It was funny. I've told the story. It's been years since I've told it, but like in this detail. And so we get out, and I go up to him first. I'm like, "You all right? Do you need us to call somebody for you? Like, are you okay?" Because I'm still on the phone with the operator, 911, right? And I said the kid crashed. Like I'm telling the 911 operator, he just crashed on exit. I think it was exit 11 off of, I don't know what highway we were off of, but I remember it being exit 11. And I said, yeah, the exit sign just fell on his vehicle, and she was telling us, go see, is he okay? And so that's what we're doing. So we get out there, and he's still in his car. Now I can see him. Because he's trying to see if I can illustrate this or describe it properly for people listening. The way we got out of the cars, he sees me first because Steve is on the driver's side, so he hasn't seen him yet. So I'm walking over and I'm going, "Are you all right?" Steve comes out from behind the car now, because we had rented a car. We had rented an SUV, and so he comes over. So you can't see him yet because the SUV is kind of tall. He comes around the corner, and I see the kid's face, and he just kind of looks like, eyes get all wide when he sees Steve. He's like, "Oh shit," because he could, can't really see somebody that well in a car. I mean, Steve was a big dude, but probably didn't realize just how big he was. And so now I'm on the phone with the operator and asking questions and trying to talk to the kid. And Steve is just mad at, he's still like angry, but he's now sees the kid's kind of in a compromised position. Probably not the best time to F him up, because he's probably already effed up.
And you got witnesses on the phone.
Right. So he's saying to him, "Hey, buddy, what the fuck is your problem? Like, what are you doing? You all right? Do you need an ambulance? Like, what the fuck?" But he's like asking him if he's all right, but still like, what the fucking him and motherfucking him, like, as I would say. So he's still like cutting a promo on him, as we say in wrestling. And
I love it. This dude just crashed into an exit sign and it fell on his car. And Steve's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Are you okay? Do you need, like, how do you respond to that? Like, I wouldn't know what to say." Like,
so he gets out of his car, and this is when you really see he's a smaller dude. Like he was probably my height, but he was $110 soaking wet with bricks in his pocket. He was just a skinny kid. I say kid, he was probably our age, but we were kids. I was like 23, 24 at the time. And so he gets out and he's just like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I broke up with my girlfriend." And he starts just giving us this like sob story. We're like, "Okay, but dude, you're driving like a maniac, and look what you just did. Like, you could have killed somebody. You're lucky you didn't kill yourself, And by this point, I had gotten off the phone with the operator because she had our location. Obviously, you're going to find the car that crashed into the exit 11 sign on whatever highway we were on.
This is dispatch to state police. It's the exit that has fallen down and is on top of a car. Should be easy to find.
Yeah. So he's given us this sob story. He's apologizing, of course, because now he knows he's going to get his ass kicked if he doesn't. And so we're like, "All right, whatever, as long as you're all right." Yeah. He just called Steve said he just called the cops, motioning to me, and it's like, "Somebody will be here. So if you don't need us to call anybody and you're okay, we're just going to take off." But, he looks at me and goes, "Don't be a fucking asshole anymore." He's like, pointing at the kid. And so we start to kind of walk back, but Steve's still watching the kid, and I'm kind of looking at him too. We're kind of backing towards our car to just keeping an eye on him.
Yeah.
and he starts kind of getting wobbly a little bit. So Steve looks at him and he's like, he looks at me, he's like, look, he's gonna fall down. Is he all right? I'm like, I don't know. So Steve goes, hey, and the kid's not responding. So Steve goes, hey, Dick, like just loud, like screams at him. And the kid, I'm gonna stand up here. I don't know if we're gonna be able to catch this on camera or not. I'm gonna hold my microphone. He was wobbly, and he turns around and he gets all wide-eyed again, and he's like, and Steve goes, "Are you all right? You need to call somebody for you. Like, what are you doing? Are you good?" And the kid turns back around. He goes, "Up good." He turns back around and starts to walk away, and he starts holding his butt like he shit himself. Like he shit himself when Steve went, "Hey, Dick."
Well, did he? Because if he was wobbly before, did he do it?
Or he did it prior, but it looked like he did it then. Because just if you could, I can't do it justice. But as loud as he yelled, "Hey, Dick," and with the anger and vitriol and intensity in his voice, I think he shit himself from that.
Maybe not. Just got into a major car accident.
Maybe he shit himself when he crashed into the side, and I don't know. But just the look on his face and the way he turned around when he said, "Hey, Dick."
Maybe it was a combination of like the accident and Steve.
It probably was.
Maybe.
But that's what happened. And then we got back into the car and we drove to UFC, and the fights sucked until we got to Wesley Cabbage Carrera, and I want to say it was Tim Sylvia, but I could be wrong. But I remember it was Cabbage was the guy's name. And it was two guys that were not very skilled, but man, they had a hell of a fight, just beating the shit out of each other. Because we were getting ready to leave, and that fight came on, and we were like, we hadn't heard of any of these guys, any of them, and they just had a fucking barn burner, and it was awesome, and it made it all worth it.
That just made me think of the what is it, Brawl for It All, the WWE.
The Brawl for All, yeah.
Brawl for All, yeah. That we don't know what the fuck we're doing, but we're just gonna fight, even though we're wrestlers. That's something
we'll talk about that.
That's going to be another episode that we're going to talk about. Yes. Sure.
But yeah, we watched that fight, and then, you know, we walked around the casino and ate and all that stuff and did some gambling or whatever. And we were going to stay down there, but decided at the last minute, like, we'll just go home, whatever. We were all still kind of wired and wide awake. And on the way home, I was driving, and on the way home, I started hallucinating because I was so tired. And I had never done that before driving, because I mean, at the time we used to drive everywhere all the time for, you know, shows and stuff like that. And on the way home, I hallucinated, for some reason, traffic cones in the middle of the road that were not there. Wow. And I was swerving all over the place, like, and everybody's like, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" I'm like, "The fucking traffic cone right there." And they're like, "There's no traffic cone. Like, there's no fucking right there." And I'm looking in the rearview mirror. There's no traffic cone. I'm like, "Oh, okay." I swear I just saw a traffic cone. Like, "Do you want us to drive?" I'm like, "No, I'm good. I got it.
No,
and I drove all the way home, but I was hallucinating. It happened more than once. I was hallucinating traffic cones in the middle of the road. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So
yeah, somebody needed a nap. Well, so you hallucinated. You were so tired while driving. You hallucinated. Have you ever like been so tired driving you just like can't stop laughing because you're so tired, and just like the thoughts in your head are like just you find so funny. You just amuse yourself with your.
I don't know, because I don't think that's ever happened to me, because if I ever drove someplace by myself, I was always listening to something. So I never drove and was just alone in my thoughts. Does that make sense? Like, I'd always have the radio going, or at the time I would have a lot of CDs. I'd make Art Bell CDs so I could listen to Art Bell, because this is before iPods and stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And then obviously when the iPod came out, I'd get audiobooks and stuff like that, and I'd always listen to something. So I was never just alone to laugh uncontrollably. I mean, or I'd have people with me, but if I was alone, I was always listening to something.
Well, one time I was so tired. So I was with my friend Max. So my friend Max and my friend Jenny and I went to a show at the Middle East in Boston. And during the show, somebody stage dived and landed on her because she's like really small and broke her neck. So we went in the ambulance to her to the hospital. And once her mom got there, and then like we knew, like, okay, like she's okay. We then had to walk back to where the car was because we didn't have anyone like this. We didn't have, I don't even think we had cell phones then. So we had to just walk back, like, okay, how do we get back to the Middle East? Like, like at the hospital, can you tell us how to get to Mass Ave? And then we had to walk back. So we get back and the show's ending and all the bands are packing up. And one of the guys from the band is like, oh, well, we're playing in Springfield. Now we're all getting a caravan driving down. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll go. So it was a really long day. And halfway through the show, it was like, it's really late. I think I might have had my learner's permit, and you're not supposed to drive past a certain time. And at this point, I think it was like 3 a.m. And so I was driving and I was so tired. My friend Max fell asleep and I had music, but I was still so tired. And I was just like falling asleep. And I remember, like, you can't fall asleep. You need to stay awake. You're driving. But then it was like I just blink and the blinks got longer. And the next thing I know, I'm almost like driving into a woman next to us. And I'm like, oh shit. And I'd be like, Max, wake up. And I'd be tapping him and he'd be like, huh? I'm like, stay awake, like talk to me. And he's like, okay, and falls right back asleep. I was so tired. And I just remember like not knowing what to do. Like, do I pull over and sleep and then get in trouble for like not coming home? Or like, I'm already like driving past the time I should. It was one of those, like, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to keep driving. And I was like slapping myself in the face to try to wake myself up. I, I didn't know what to do. I was so tired. I made it home. I did kind of nod off a couple times, but I quickly came back. Thank goodness.
Wow.
It was scary. Like I literally had to like slap myself in the face to try to keep myself awake.
See, what I used to do was I would, after the hallucinating incident, the traffic cone incident, what I used to do is I would always chew tobacco like that. And that would just be my thing that I would do. That would always keep me awake.
Well, probably because
It
you're
was,
doing
I was
something.
doing
Yeah.
exactly. I was always doing something. So, that was the only time I would do it is when I would drive. So I wouldn't do it during the week or anything like that. It would always be if I was going to a show. And most shows at the time, I was doing a lot of driving. I'd be going to Delaware a lot, Pennsylvania, New York, all, so I was always driving far away. I'd always be in the car minimum 3-4 hours, and sometimes longer. So that's what I would do to stay awake. And it worked fine. I mean, for me, I think what's the longest road trip you've ever done where you were driving?
Well, so I drove my ex-boyfriend when he was in a band. I would usually drive. Usually me or the drummer would drive. So I remember we drove down to like Washington D.C. and then down to Virginia, and then I was
From Massachusetts?
Rhode Island.
Okay.
From Providence, and so I remember I was driving back from Virginia to Providence. And this is where I started. Like, I was so tired because everyone would just go to sleep. And I was so tired that I was just like cracking myself up in my head, like making myself laugh. It was funny because we got to New York and I forget who, but they're like, oh, you want to make sure you go on like the bottom part of the bridge, whichever one. They're like, yeah, because one is like full of trucks and you want to avoid that one. And I'm like, okay. So I took the one that they said to do and it was full of trucks, but it wasn't just that it was full of trucks. It was a snowstorm. So I'm driving home in a snowstorm on the George Washington Bridge on the one that has all the trucks on it. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And it's dark and it's hard to see because at this point, I guess I needed glasses, but I just didn't have them. And yeah, I was just like, everyone would just be sleeping. And I just remember feeling like I was going crazy because I was talking to myself in my mind, like quietly.
As you do.
And yeah, and I'm like singing Patsy Cline songs in my head, keeping myself occupied, trying not to fall asleep. And I just remember like getting back and I had to pee so bad that I kept like, wow, my molars are floating. Like just remembering that, but it felt like I was just like cracking myself up, which made it worse because I had to pee really bad. But I was so freaking tired. And I went past the point of being sleepy to just feeling like, haha, crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Fun times.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Hey, but we all got home safe.
That's what matters.
Yeah.
I remember one time coming home. I can't. I don't remember if I told this on the podcast or not. I may have, but coming home and I think it was like 2 hours away, and I was in. I think it was Southbridge, Mass. I want to say, or Springfield. I can't remember. And after the show, a bunch of us had gone to a party, a quote unquote party. It whatever. It wasn't anything great, but I remember getting really drunk and foolishly getting in the car and driving home. And it wasn't just me. I was with somebody else who was going to keep me awake or whatever. And we got in the car, we got on the highway, and the next thing I knew, we were home. And I had no memory of driving, no clue how I got home because they were passed out on the seat. So they didn't keep me awake. And I, like I said, I got home and I had no idea how I got home.
Wow.
And they ended up crashing at my apartment at the time because
you're like, I'm not driving you home.
That's where I ended up. And it was weird because I was, how am I home? Where have I been? What the hell happened?
Interesting.
Yeah. So the things you do when you're young. Yeah. Stupid.
So what other fun wrestling road stories do you have?
Fun ones? Geez. Well, no, it's hard because I don't want to implicate anybody. I don't want to implicate anybody with anything, any stories or anything.
Don't say names. You can say like wrestler A and wrestler B.
There's been a bunch of times where I've gotten like rear-ended. I remember one trip down to Delaware, actually, on the same road trip, got rear-ended twice on the way to the show. Yeah. And that was another one where I was with Steve, actually, and he was the one driving.
Delaware, was it like a Super 8 or something?
As a matter of fact, it was. And this would have been in
that's like the only wrestling I know in Delaware.
Jeez. It was either 1998 or 1999. I can't remember whichever one he was in that he ended up winning. And we got rear-ended twice on the way there. So we got rear-ended in New York on the George Washington Bridge. And then we got rear-ended again coming up to the tolls to get into New Jersey. Two different people rear-ended us. And he wasn't driving erratically. He wasn't doing anything stupid. He was just driving normal. All of a sudden we just bashed into him. What the hell? Two different people. We didn't exchange any information because there was really no damage to the car. Thankfully, it was just a quick kind of, you say fender bender, but our fender wasn't bent. So we lucked out in that respect because it was a rental. And we all got the whiplash, right? But it didn't kick in until later. So we got rear-ended twice, and then we went and wrestled. He wrestled 3 times that night. I only wrestled once. And we didn't, it didn't kick in till we're on the drive home. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, geez, my neck's really bothering me. And I'm trying to think, like, did I do something in the ring? Like, what did I do tonight that hurt my neck? And then realized, oh wait, no, it's from the whiplash because his neck was started hurting him. And the other kid that was traveling with us, same thing. He's like, oh yeah, my neck hurts too. Shit. I'm like, oh, okay, it was probably the whiplash. Oh, maybe we should have got insurance information. But thankfully it only lasted a couple of days and went away, thankfully. So
yeah.
But yeah, that was a weird one because it happened, twice on the same trip.
Do you have any that don't involve accidents?
Yeah, but a lot of them are
What?
involve illicit drugs and things of that nature.
What?
Well, I mean, drug taking, I should say, wasn't really anything horrible. I mean, okay, so I'm trying to think of the best one to tell here for entertainment purposes. So bad. Let's see. No, I can't tell that one.
Oh no, but you have to.
No, I can't tell that one. It's too long. It's way too. This is a story. We need a guest for this one to come on and actually tell this one. I'll tell you later.
And I'll forget to ask. So
no, I'll tell you. It's okay. It's nothing bad. You've heard the story before, but it's literally like a 4-hour story. To tell it properly, to do it justice. It's a long story.
Wow.
Yes,
okay.
Because so much happened and it went on over 48 hours, 48 to 72 hours. It went a long time and a lot of stuff happened, and you cannot do the story justice unless you tell it all chronologically.
It sounds like a novel. Like you just need to write
we've joked about it being like turned into a screenplay because so much happened and it was so crazy. And
but now everyone listening and watching wants to hear it.
I hate, and we should probably edit this out because it's one of those things where I don't know if we're ever going to be able to tell it because it involves a lot of people who you can't say their names because everybody
fake names.
People would know it doesn't work as well because, well, no, it will work. I guess it's still crazy that it happened, but I would tell you the real names, obviously. And you'd go, oh shit. Yeah, that would be way better if I could tell the names. But anyway.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, so, I'm sorry. I hate to blue ball the audience that way. And that's exactly what I just did.
Such a tease.
I'm sorry about that, but yeah.
Such a tease.
But no, I can't tell that one yet because it's way too long. Okay,
then tell when you can tell.
I don't know, I'm trying to think of another good story to tell. I mean, when you and I first started seeing each other, I drove to St. Louis.
Yes.
For that, there was a wrestling camp that was going on, and Harley Race was putting it on. And if you impressed people there, you could get sent over to Japan and wrestle, and it ended up being just a big, I call them a money grab, but now that's how you get into wrestling. Now you go to camps and that's how you get noticed. But at the time, these were things that had just kind of started happening, and I thought they were kind of shady, but I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll go because it could turn into something. We'll see. And I ended up driving all the way there, and not, it was myself. It was, we had 2 cars going over there. Like 2 cars full of guys from our area that were going over there. And I ended up doing all the driving for my car. I didn't want to let anybody else drive because I actually was borrowing my mom's car. She let me use her brand new car for the road trip. That's why I was driving. I'm like, nobody else can drive because I was the only one that would be covered on the insurance that she had on the car. So, and then got there, saw what it was, which is exactly what I thought it was a money grab. It wasn't anything nothing was going to come of it. So I faked getting a head injury, faked getting a concussion so I could come home early. And I ended up
did the guys know that you faked it? Like, did you ever tell them?
I think they knew after the fact. Yeah, I think they knew after the fact. Because it was just, I'm just sitting there, I'm like, this is the biggest, like, what is this? This is stupid. Like, I'm not going to do, me. I did, and that's true. I did actually miss you a lot. And I remember I couldn't get home fast enough because I was like, this sucks.
Didn't someone come home with you too?
Yeah. Yes. Another guy came home with me because he had a young son who had broken his leg while he was away. So he was like, he got the news while we're there. And he's like, hey, can I come home with you? Like, absolutely. Yeah. Sure. That's fine. Yeah, great. And I just told myself, you got to keep me awake because I'm going to drive it all the way through. We're not going to stop at a hotel or anything. Because on the way there, we did stop at a hotel because, everybody wanted to get rested and whatever. Yeah. And I remember I was doing so much chewing tobacco and downing 5-hour energy shots so I could stay awake that I couldn't sleep. So I didn't sleep the whole drive there. The whole time, like when we stopped the hotel, I didn't sleep. I just lay in bed, like wide awake, could not sleep. So I ended up getting up and going. There was like a gym in the hotel. I went and worked out, whatever. And then drove all the way to St. Louis or Eldon. I think it was Eldon, Missouri, which is close to St. Louis or around St. Louis, whatever. And we did the seminar, whatever. And after the first day, I'm like, I'm done. Like I got a head. Oh, my head hurts.
Wasn't it like the second day? You weren't there very long. I think it was like a few days.
I ended up being there. I think I was there for 3 or 4 days total. And what happened was after the first day, after I realized what this is, where they're just having guys run around and do a bunch of drills and stuff. I'm like, this is not, you're not going to see if anybody's talented by having them do drills.
Yeah.
And there was like 85 people there. So it's like, you don't get any one-on-one time in the ring to show what you can do and show that you actually have a clue and you're not just an idiot. So I was like, this is dumb. And a lot of the people they said were going to be there scouting talent, they were not there.
Oh.
So I was like, all right, this is like Harley Race showed up for literally like 10 minutes on the first day, smoking a cigarette and telling everybody that wrestling today, everybody sucks except for Shawn Michaels and Triple H. The only guys that are any good. Puffing on his cigarette, and then he left. Like literally, that was it.
Wow.
So I was like, all right, if this is what this is going to be, I'm not doing this. I'm done. So what I did was I had my laptop with me, and I had brought, I think it was season 5 of The Office.
Yeah, you brought The Office.
I had The Office DVDs with me. And I said, and I had a brand new book on time travel that I'd bought. I said, you know what? I'm on vacation now. That's it. I'm just going to sit. I'm going to hang out in the hotel room, and I'm just going to watch The Office. I'm going to read my book. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to get some room service, whatever. And I'm just going to relax. That's what I'm going to do. While these guys are off being, bumping around and doing all these drills, I'm going to just hang out and chill and say I got a concussion. So everybody leaves me alone. And that's what happened. Like, so if anybody's listening that was there, you know who you are. Sorry, but that's what I did. But yeah, they all told me after the fact, like, hey, you did the right thing. It was stupid. There was nothing going on. And that's the thing. Every day they would come back and be like, yep, we didn't do anything.
Well, especially
all day.
Now where like we've realized like the most valuable currency we have is our time. To waste it on something like once you get there and you're like, this is a waste of time, to still go through it.
Yeah.
Which actually kind of brings me to, just made me think of something we were talking about today with like people who talk to you and you're trying to do something and
is this a road story?
No, I'm just saying like where people talk to you and you're trying to do something and you're trying to be polite and feeling like this will be another episode. We talk about this.
Okay. I was just saying you're kind of going all over.
We're going to go. No, I was just saying it made me think about that because like you're there, know, like what this thing is at this wrestling event.
Yeah.
You know what it is. Do you really want to waste your time once you know and go and put your body through that?
Well,
knowing
that's the
what
thing.
It is?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like I knew right off the bat, like this is when I figured it out pretty quickly what it was. And I'm not doing this. So I remember I paired up with the guy that I came down with that I trusted. And I said, you hit me. And I don't think he knew what I was doing till after the fact. I told him because he's the one that drove home with me. Yeah. I told him after that, I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm not.
Obviously, I'm driving for like 48 hours straight.
Yeah, like I'm good. No, it ended up being, I think we made it home in 19 hours.
Oh.
Because I did it straight. Yeah, we left at, like a bunch of us went out to eat at wherever we were. I think it was like a Bob Evans restaurant or something like that in Missouri. And I just said, hey, do I go home tonight? And he's like, yeah, all right, I'll go. And then the other person that had driven with us was able to fit in the other car and was going to stay because they were doing like a show the following night or something. Like, you guys don't want to stay for the show? I'm like, no. But why? What's going to come of that? And so, yeah, we did.
Did anyone get signed?
No,
exactly. So
nothing came of it.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the trainers, the quote unquote trainers that was running the deal, got a job as a referee about a month later in the WWE.
But none of the people who paid.
No.
to go to this camp. Yeah.
No, gosh, no.
Yeah.
So I paid to go on vacation. That's what happened for me. But yeah, we left that night. We left at like 11 o'clock at night. So made really great time because no traffic, obviously in the wee hours of the morning. So just doing 85, 90 the whole way back. Got a speeding ticket coming home on the interstate in Massachusetts. Got pulled over by a state trooper. So I got a speeding ticket coming home and
can't drive 55.
No, couldn't drive. No, I didn't drive 55. That's for sure. And got home. I think I got home at 7:30 or 8 o'clock the following day. And I can't remember. Did you come over that night? I can't remember.
I think I probably did.
You probably did. I was obviously exhausted, but yeah.
But that's the great thing about us. Like
times.
we could be super tired and
Yep.
like take a nap together, but we're together, so it's okay.
Yeah, it was fine.
It counts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that was that, and that was like I remember being so tired and so just over, like body being oversaturated with nicotine and caffeine from Red Bulls and 5-hour energy shots and all the chewing tobaccos. Dude, my lips, my inner lip was all just raw and everything from doing so much chew the whole way back.
Hey.
Yeah, oh yeah, good times. Haven't done that stuff in a long time.
Yeah, because I was like, it's gross.
It's not a great habit at all, but it kept me awake. Gross. That was what I did.
Anyway.
So, anyhow.
But yeah, I have it's not necessarily a road story, but it's a driving story.
If it's a driving story, then it's a road story.
Okay.
Right.
So I was with a group of friends and we're at like punk rockers. And I had a 1989 Dodge Shadow.
All right.
And so it was like a really cool color blue, like a steely blue color. And I had a ton of stickers of all these bands I like all around the edge of the window, along the bumper, like just all over the back. And my brother would call it like Punkmobile 1.
Okay.
And so we were driving and it was winter. I think it either just finished snowing or still snowing. And there was 2, 4, 5 other people in my car. So I had like 4 in the back, 1 in the passenger seat, and then me driving. So obviously not everyone was wearing their seatbelts. Because that was a big thing. I was like, you all have to wear seatbelts, like try to make it work. But but we weren't really going, like we were driving somewhere and I didn't know where the hell we were. My friend was like telling me where we needed to go because I think we were like dropping people off. And so we go down this road and it's a residential road. And it's one of those roads where like all these really nice houses have like beautiful, gorgeous Christmas lights. So people like to slow down and stop. But if you're driving, looking at Christmas lights, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to pull over so other people can drive, like put your directional on, your hazards, move over so somebody can go around you. Well, these people in front of us didn't do that. And I'll share a little bit about me. When I was younger, I had severe road rage and I would get really angry. I used to wish I could have grenades in my car so I could just pull the pin and throw it through people's windows so they could blow up. Because, oh my gosh, I wanted to like rip people out of their cars and bash their head open with the car door. I had really bad road rage.
Sounds like it.
I'm fine now. I've gotten over that. I've released my anger. But back then, not so much. And back then, I used to love getting into fights. It was so fun. Like it was always fun for me. So any excuse to get into a fight, I get into a fight. And so I honked at this car, like, come on, like, but then they started going slower, like a total dick. Like instead of, hey, you're going really slow down this road, it's snowing. And so it wasn't really wide enough to pass safely. And cars were coming the other way too. I didn't feel safe. So at least if they pulled over a little bit, I could get a chance to go around them, safely.
Sure.
But so I had honked like to give them, like to let them know, like, hey, there's people behind you trying to actually drive down the road to get somewhere. So they started going slower and then they stopped. And I'm like, oh, we're going to get in a fight. All right. So I'm thinking it's like younger people. Like, so my friends, punk rockers, we're getting our brass knuckles. We're getting our spiked belts, wrapping it around our fists. Like we're ready to fight. So I'm like, let me out first. Let me just kind of feel out the situation. Cause I was also the oldest one too. I think I was like 17 or 18. So I get out of the car, like ready to be like, what the fuck, but I waited because I didn't know the situation. I'm trying to be smart about it. And I come up and they put the window down and it's like these people probably in their late 40s. maybe early 50s. They're older and they look terrified. And I'm like, I needed you to pull over. My friend is really sick and I got to get him to a hospital. And they're like, okay, we're really sorry. I'm like, okay, I just don't know why you wouldn't move over so we could get through. And they're just like, we're so sorry. And my friends are like getting out of the car, like pushing them, like, get back in the car. And so I'm like, okay, we're going to go around you. And I got in the car and we left. And I was like, oh my God, these people, like these, like, middle-aged yuppie people looked absolutely,
Yuppie.
yes, like yuppie looking, like looked absolutely petrified. Because here's this girl who, like, in my punk rock clothes and everything. And I thought I looked good, but I'm sure they saw me a certain way and maybe made them feel a little uncomfortable. But I get in the car and my friend's like, what the fuck? What happened? I go, just be quiet. And so we drive past and I'm like, thank you. I waved to them because I was just thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking like in case they have a gun or something, like, just be prepared. But I was just thinking, oh my goodness, like I thought these people like were younger and they were going to fight us just being dicks. And no, they were just older people looking at the Christmas lights and just didn't have a clue. So I had explained like once we passed them and I'm like, I just want to get the fuck out of here. So we started driving and then I was like, yeah, they're like old. Not that they were old, but like
Yuppies.
Older.
Yuppies.
The woman like with the sweater wrapped around like the shirt and the sweater
gotcha.
like draped over the shoulders and the nice little knotted kind of thing. And yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, there you have
it's a fun memory. And it was a nice little lesson, a good learning experience for me.
Yeah. There you go.
I'm just really glad I was very cautious instead of just us, because we probably would have been arrested had we acted.
Yeah.
On that possible scenario that we thought it was going to be.
Well, that's good that you didn't.
Yes. Do you have any other stories you want to share before we wrap it up?
Oh, geez. No, I don't think anything else I'm going to tell is going to be better than that first one, really. That was a really good one. I thought. I hope everybody else thought it was funny and a good
dude
story.
shit himself, so.
I mean, crashed into a damn exit sign on a highway. Pretty crazy. But no, I don't have anything else really. Apologies for blue balling everybody with that other story. But yeah,
we'll have to do some kind of special bonus episode.
God. Maybe, yeah. It's a good one.
Because I feel like it just needs to come out. We need to talk about it.
It's a long one. I'm telling you, it's a long one.
It'll be a bonus. We'll figure it out.
We're not gonna put a time on it though, like when it'll come out, because it might be a while.
It could be next year, but it'll be a bonus.
Sure. Okay, I guess we can.
I'm gonna write it down so you don't forget.
All right, fair enough. No, that's it. A lot of, I hate to say this, but in all honesty, a lot of stuff I don't remember because a lot of times I was not, after shows, I would not be fully aware, I guess you could say, of what was going on, because you indulge in some things when you're on the road, if you will, and you're not at home, and you're not, if I wasn't driving especially, I would be indulging in some substances, if you will. Yeah. So I don't remember a lot of stuff, but I'm sure that a matter of fact, I got a text not the other day, but I told you about it a couple of weeks ago, where I got a text from two guys who were still on the road wrestling and texted me, telling me we were just telling Alex Arion stories. I'm like, oh, sweet, safe travels.
Yeah, you always do that. Like, he'll tell me like, oh yeah, I told you. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, you need to like share the story so I can remember.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Yes. Like a lot of, I guess I did a lot of stuff that people still talk about. So there you go.
Maybe we need to have them on to share these stories then, because you can't remember.
That's the thing. I hate that there's so many things that happen that I don't remember. For a while there, my first couple years in wrestling, I had a nickname among my friends. It was Up All Night Alex Arion, because I would be up all night at a lot of shows or the after events. If there'd be after parties and what have you, I would get that nickname because I did not sleep. I would be up all night. So yeah, that was my nickname for
and
a while
then you
there.
met me, who likes to be like in
This
laying in
was-
bed at 7:30.
Well, yeah, now, it's a far cry from where I am now in my life. But as a young lad, yes, I would be up all I had fun when I would go out
That's okay.
on the road. And this I mean, geez, this was like 10 years before you and I even knew each other and got
No,
together,
it's just funny because I've always been like, I like to go to bed earlier. And because I always wake up early, I've just always woken up early. So when it gets late, like I could totally, when I was younger, stay up like I used to all the time, but I'd still usually wake up early.
Not me. No. See, when I was, geez, I can't even remember when this started, but it had to be when I was early teens. I would stay up, geez, till 2, 3 in the morning, sometimes 4 in the morning, and I would sleep till like noon time, 1 o'clock. During the summer and stuff like that. And then and weekends and stuff, even like during the school year, I would always be up, just up. I would sneak out of the house. Oh yeah, I used to. Oh yeah.
I used to hate having to work at night, not because I wanted to go out and party or anything, but because I'd be like, oh, I'm not past my bedtime. Not like I was given a bedtime, just like I wanted to be in bed sleeping.
Yeah. See, that didn't happen for me until later on in life. Yeah, because I was always just wanting to go out and have fun, and I didn't go out and party when I was younger. I didn't have my first drop of alcohol till my 21st birthday. Like I didn't get drunk or smoke weed. I didn't do anything. I didn't anything at all. I was, I guess you could say, straight edge. I didn't do anything.
Little goody two shoes.
No, but not. I didn't walk around with that label like proclaiming it to anybody. It just was never for me. I would go to parties. I would hang out with people that were doing that stuff. Yeah. It just never appealed to me at the time. And yeah, the first time I ever got really drunk, I was actually with Steve, and it was after a wrestling show, and he brought me to a strip bar, and I got drunk. That was the first time.
Tremendous.
We went to the 99 restaurant first, and I had a Long Island iced tea.
Is that why you love those?
Yes, that actually is why, because Steve and our other friend that was with us wanted me to get drunk. So like, you're 21 now, here you go. You're gonna have a Long Island iced tea. I'm like, well, what's in this? They're like, don't worry, just drink it. Like,
a little bit of everything.
All right, thumbs up, let's do it. And I did. And I got so drunk, obviously. And yeah, then they brought me to, what was the name of the place? It was this just.
Where
brutal,
was it? What state?
It was in Massachusetts. It was in, oh gosh, it was either New Bedford or Fall River, Mass. I can't remember now. But it was like the King's Inn, I think it was called, or something like that. The King's something or other. It was it's probably not even there anymore. I don't know.
Must have been very classy.
It was not at all classy, but that was, yeah, we went to a strip bar after, and yeah, it was, yeah. That was the first time I ever got drunk. So I was 21 when I did. So, but yeah, that after that, when I would go and travel, that's when I would, stories would happen or whatever. And it wasn't like, I don't want anybody to be like, oh, you're a crazy partier. No, well, I don't think it was anything like that.
I'm just thinking like Jake the Snake with the recent things, lampshade on my head.
No, I don't think I ever got that crazy. No.
No, I know.
No, nothing like that.
But like where you're saying like I wouldn't get crazy, and then I just thought of like crazy being like compared to Jake the Snake Roberts crazy kind of partying.
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody, everybody does stuff when they're younger.
Yeah.
Looking back, and you're just like, wow, I was pretty crazy. But there was a while there where I really, there was a time where I would think it's amazing that I've survived as long as I have, because I was the guy who, for a while there, for a number of years, for a little stretch there in my mid-20s, if somebody was doing 2 of something, I would do 4 of it, because I wanted to do just a little more to be. It was kind of like a pissing contest, and it was all in good fun, and it was all.
I would kind of do that with drinking, but more in the sense of like people who couldn't drink certain types of alcohol. I'd be like, give me that. And I just to like, without like flinching, I would drink it, and it would be like, they'd be like, oh my God, how can you do that? I'd be like, because I'm fucking tough. I'm not a pussy, just to kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
just for fun.
I think for me too, a lot of it was when I got into wrestling, and I really, when I say got, not when I first got in, but when I first started doing shows and started really going and traveling and doing everything, I became so, you know how I am. I became so immersed into it and submerged into that lifestyle that it was not, is this right or should I do this? It was, this is what wrestlers do. You want to be a wrestler? This is what you're going to do. And nobody told me that. That was just my mindset.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, the guys, they're taking some pills and having a couple of beers out to show. That's what you do. Okay, I'm going to do some of that too. Oh, those guys do too. Well, I'm going to take 3 or I'm going to take 4. It was never, and I never did anything like crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think. But there was a couple of years there where I was like, I'm lucky that I survived. Like I really feel that way because yeah, it was.
I feel like that with like a lot
pretty,
of things, like just
it's pretty scary.
Yeah,
some of the stuff that I did.
No, but just in general, like some of the stuff, like the positions you find yourself in, like, driving when you're really tired, or like,
Yeah.
I think I shared one episode where I was at a Warp Tour, and was it Green Day, I think? And like a bunch of people fell down and a girl fell, and I went to go help her up. So I had to like get down to like pull her up because like nobody was helping anyone.
Yeah.
And then I got trampled on, I got knocked down. So she gets up, and I just remember thinking, I'm going to die in a fucking pit of dust at a freaking Warp Tour with Green Day playing, because it was like all this dust, you couldn't breathe because you're down by the ground, and it was hot and dry, and I'm getting stepped on and I'm getting kicked. And I was like, fuck this. I just started like punching people and like behind their knees so they kind of come down, and finally people saw me and they helped me up. But it's just like they're predicaments you find yourself in, and you think, how the fuck did I survive that?
Yeah.
And looking back now, I'm like, because that this is my journey. I check out when I check out.
It's I mean, I think that's kind of, it's got to be why.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I've been in a couple bad car accidents. Not my fault. For anyone thinking female driver, I'm actually a really good driver for a female. But like, I got like T-boned by somebody, and people were like, how, like the cop didn't know how I was still alive. So it's just things like that where, how did I survive this? I'd like to think because it's our journey, and our time to leave is our time to leave.
Yeah. See, mine wasn't so much car accidents. Mine were all things that I partook in. It wasn't.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like in general, like you find yourself somewhere, whether it's through your fault or not your fault.
Yeah. Yeah. I think everybody, I would assume pretty much everybody has stories like that where you have a brush with death, or you look back and you're like, how the hell did I even survive that? How did I, but
usually it's the moment of, like brush with death, or like, oh no, am I going to die?
Well, see, that's the thing. I never had those thoughts in the moment. It was never at the time like, oh, if I do this,
it's looking back.
It's
like,
looking back and you're like,
how did I make it?
How the hell did I take 12 somas and function? Like, how the hell did I do that? What the hell was I thinking? Like, why did I even get to that point? But yeah, anyway,
we're all on a journey, on a path for a reason. It brings us to where we need to be.
Exactly.
And it brought us here together,
Yeah.
sharing these stories with you, our hearers and watchers.
And hopefully everybody was entertained at least a
little bit.
As always, we thank you very much for spending your most valuable currency, your time, listening or watching us every week when you do. Because we think about it, we talk about just whatever. It is like the most random show sometimes. And yeah, we appreciate, especially the folks that tune in every week. Thank you so much.
We love you, and we appreciate you, and we value your time being spent with us.
Absolutely. We appreciate it. So where can people find us on social media? We have Twitter
at Homewrecker Pod.
And our website.
Homewreckerpodcast.com.
There you have it. Where can people find you, my lady?
You can find me on Twitter at _Monique Giselle _. I have a website, tarotbymonique.com, and an Etsy shop, Wonders by Monique. And I just realized like I made pendants with necklaces and I should be wearing it to promote it, but I forgot. But I'll have those up soon too.
They're pretty cool. I
Yeah.
helped you take some pictures earlier. They're
Yeah,
really
like
nice.
I'm not a jewelry maker, but I
they're pretty
figured it out how to do it, and it's good. So
Yeah.
how about you? How can people find you, my love?
I'm also on Twitter at the Alex Arion. That's ARION for anybody that is not sure how to spell it. And of course, we put all that stuff in our show notes. And you can also check out alexarionfitness.com. And until next time, like I just said, I am the Golden Greek, Alex Arion, joined as always by my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous, amazing trophy wife, the lovely Monique.
That's me.
That is you.
And you've been listening to the Homewrecker Podcast.